6, and we're still on number 5.
Right, number 5, public comment. Have any other comments or questions from the public at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on. I understand that we want to
Table my report to the office.
right, table the attorney's report, table the chief's report, table the treasurer's report, table the outstanding invoices and discussion action plan, and go to number 10, consideration of ordinance 2016-02 adopting the budget and appropriation for fiscal year 2016-2017. So we have copies here. We did the budget hearing where we went through.
Do you have that?
From what?
The budget and appropriations ordinance.
I did not print that. You sent it, I did not print it off.
I can print them off. I have one copy.
Well, you have one copy, that's all.
But it's not a properly numbered copy, unfortunately.
Well, you can manually number it.
And how many copies of each one?
It's just says OX on there.
Oh, there you go. Well, that big cheese.
Let me look.
Do you need more than one copy, Brad?
I mean, I can print them off if I go upstairs.
What was this, number 1?
It's number 1. Is this?
Yeah, there it is. Is this? Oh, here it is.
Do you have one with the number 1? Oh, excellent, there we go.
And we can just make copies of this.
What?
Yeah, that's outstanding job.
No, that's prevailing,
That's prevailing. That's
Wrong one, nice job.
Oh, let me see yours again.
Yeah, I was so proud of myself.
You just want to make sure that the numbers are right.
It's in 3 places. Then
Yeah, well,
I changed it. And saved, but I did not print it.
There you go.
And which
I was going to say,
isn't usually 3 or 5?
I need 2 because I need 2 to file with Lake County, and then I usually like to keep 1.
I'm sorry,
You should
4.
keep 1. So
Okay.
3 more copies.
In addition to that.
All right, well, we can handle a couple other things while he's gone, right? Or you want to?
Ask Mr. President, I'm just the attorney.
What did you have in mind?
I want to discuss this about the windows.
Oh, okay,
That was
sure.
kind of non-confrontational.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, after we got the first price on the window repairs upstairs,
Yeah.
I sent that guy over. He came over a couple times, and a not to exceed, oh, here, I'll give you a copy. I didn't mean to have extra copies, but I do. Anyhow, it's repair the second floor windows, both of them. He found the place to get all the parts, remove, replace, damage, blah, 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 blah. You can write that out loud. You want a copy of this?
That's a lot of blah, 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 blah.
Anyhow, it's $745 to repair them both. I don't think we could replace them both for that. Anybody have any other input in that? John, you have a feeling on that?
I just would like to get them done before they actually rot out.
Well, and I want to get them done. I know it's 90 degrees out, but it's not going to be 90 degrees for 6 more months. So.
With this,
It's a not to exceed, by the way.
right, with this though, from what I'm understanding is the problem on why these are rotting out is the drainage issue around the window.
Okay.
The windows, did he look at that at all to figure out where that?
Well, like he said, he had to, well, not like he said. He said that he has to get them opened up and take the old wood out
Okay.
to see what he's got
Okay.
to
What do you think he can do it for?
not to exceed. He said if he gets into it and it's a total train wreck, that there's something unforeseen, then he'll stop and talk to us about it.
I guess my concern, following what John says, was looking at this, it doesn't say anything about doing anything to remediate where the water was coming. This is just repairing the damage. Is that part of what does he know where the water was coming from? And
No, and
needs to be done to
that's
stop it?
the interesting part. When the windows are closed, it's kind of odd as to how water got on the outside of that wood to rot it.
One sec, Eric, the windows upstairs, second floor, did you ever figure out where that water was coming in
No,
from?
not stapled, sorry. Yes, we did. It was a failure in mortar joint. It leaked down the backside, and the window was fine at the time. It was the wood was rotting on inside sill, because windows are set in.
Right.
The frame, the window, the wood that's on the inside that you see was an add-on. It didn't come from the actual window. It was,
Correct.
the contractor did it to make up the spacing because we went lower bid on the window. So that's where the water comes in through the brick joint. The brick joints are resealed by Ephraim Carlson and ground out, and then they have that.
Okay, good, that's
So-
perfect then.
So I don't wanna have this guy go and do all the work
I
without
don't
us
either.
remediating.
Right, but I know that it's an issue by going up and looking at them, they simply have to be
Absolutely.
fixed. So, this is a not to exceed, Eric.
Yeah.
And if he opens it up and has a major problem that we don't see now, he'll let us know.
So we're not necessarily approving bills for payment, but do I hear a consensus of the board that the corrections be made and the invoice be included for payment at the August meeting?
That's exactly what I was gonna
I
suggest.
thought so. I consensed that.
Any other input? Okay,
Okay,
back to this.
yeah, for the ordinances, so, you know, the budget hearing, we went through the budget. This is in a slightly different format because this is the statutory format where we have to put everything into different funds.
Correct.
But it is, you know, we did the tentative budget last month. This is in no way different other than it's just in the legal format that we need to do. So, oh, and just, you know, to make it clear, this is normally the treasurer's job to do this, but you came on as treasurer just last month, and I prepared this budget, because it's like a 3-month cycle to do this. I figured it was kind of unfair just to do it. There you go.
I appreciate it.
But basically, we're appropriating $740,000. As I talked about before, our actual, and you'll see when you look at, you know, page 2, there's 2 columns, the appropriation and the budgeted. Well, the appropriation is the actual legal amount, and for a number of these categories, I put in some contingency. So the column that's budgeted, that is our operating budget, that is what we will adhere to, but in areas where something might blow up or the building burns down, I put that in there so we don't have to reopen the budget. We can dip into the contingency if we have to, but we will, the letter of our law is the budget, which comes out to $680,000. And so it's the same stuff, but it is broken down between the corporate fund, which is the unrestricted fund, but is at the legal limit, the ambulance fund, which has the ambulance contract, and about 40% of general expenses that, you know, we throw over there. The liability fund, that is the tort fund, that's liability insurance as well as workers' comp. And the Social Security and Medicare program are relatively new funds, and that's where our contributions to the firefighting, Social Security, and Medicare go into. And give the logic between putting those things, those funds are unrestricted. PTEL still rules, so our total amount can never go over what PTEL says. But the corporate fund, I think, is it 0.4? 0.4, and we're always right at 0.4. So we put the other things in to the other ones. And there's also on some of the other funds at the end of the year, there won't be enough money to pay all of the things out of there, so we take money out of the other.
Correct.
So that is basically it. So I guess we want a motion. Motion to approve ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2016-01 as presented.
Second.
Roll call vote. Trustee Snowden. Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Crum.
Aye.
Well, you want 3 copies, 2 for you and 1 for
I
me?
need 4, because Bob's gonna keep 1 for the files. But, give me 3, because I'll take 2 and I can make a
Sign
copy
yours
of
and this
1,
one.
and that'll save. Yes, scribble.
I thought, don't you keep 2?
Well, I'm gonna take 2.
You keep 1, you file 2 with the county, and then we keep 1, right?
Right, but what I'm gonna do is, I thought I can make a PDF of the one I'm taking with me, and
Oh, yeah,
I'm gonna be back in my office anyway.
yeah.
And that way I can have the one that is the file stated
There
copy.
should be 2 spots on each one for you to sign.
There, it says.
So, the secretary's certificate is always the last one.
We got me written in where Bob's supposed to be.
No, I sign once, you sign once, you
No.
sign twice.
Yeah, but it says secretary certificate, it says I, Dan Rogers, and then
Oh,
it
yeah.
says down at the bottom,
You just
signature
scratch that.
Rogers.
Just pen and ink it,
Yeah.
Scratch it out.
pen and ink it.
Scratch this out and put me in it.
Correct.
And
Not any, but Robert Brum.
Yeah, because I got you.
I
did
state
get
your
you on
name.
Yeah.
This one, where's the other?
No, they're photocopies. Oh, yes, yeah, the treasurer's one is correct. That's what you mean, yes. I caught the treasurer's one. But not the secretary's.
Okay, you have to sign that.
Yeah.
And that might be on the one I had, I just.
So there are 2 places for you?
Yes.
I got that to do with something else.
I just get one signature. There's one.
Two quick things while you guys are signing those.
Yep.
Parking lot, obviously, as you guys saw, was redone, and then it was redone again.
Right.
I think it turned out decent after the second go around with it.
Right.
And then the second thing is, obviously, you guys see me wearing a sling. I was injured at work on Friday. Operationally, I will not be able to respond or work on any calls while I'm currently out. Hopefully, they're thinking maybe 2 weeks.
Chiefs aren't authorized to get
Chief Grenades.
Another one to sign.
These 2 are signed.
These 2 are signed. That should be ready for you. This one? This one too?
This is in place.
You got it there.
I signed
You got it
twice.
there. But you missed it there. There. That's the second. Got the last one? And you keep that, he keeps the last one, correct?
Correct. He keeps the last one. I'll take these, and I'll get these filed with the county.
So this one gets filed with us.
Correct. Correct. In fact, I'll get you the initials. So that's done. Or are you just gonna have to still the other items?
Well, you can just, or you can table them all. I just wanted to discuss 12 right there. 'Cause I wanna-
Yes,
That's okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I'd like the board's approval to go to Harris and Lake Forest Bank and Trust to solicit for bids on the loan that's coming up due.
Right.
I didn't say it probably the right way, but you know.
The mortgage on the building is a 5-year renewable balloon. So it's with the Northern Trust, every 5 years it balloons.
Right. What is it amortized on?
About 12 years left or 10 years left? 10 years left. It was a 30-year amortization.
Well, no, I was gonna start there.
Go through a bank.
I was gonna start there and then approach the county, because the county also had said that they might do funding on this.
What about a broker, mortgage broker?
If you wanna give me one.
I'm just saying, last time I did refi my house, I used Diamond, which is in downtown Lake Forest. And they are able to shop the best rates through multiple companies.
Yeah, all they're doing, he's looking for the board's authority for him to start researching the question.
Right, so I'm just wondering if we had to go through a bank being a government entity, or are we allowed to go through a broker firm?
Well, broker will just sell it.
They're gonna sell it to
But
another
they're not, so
financial.
they'll just broker, they're gonna place it with them.
Right, they're gonna place it with one, and my only concern is the entity with which you place it, there are limitations on that. You know, we're not gonna bank with the Bank of Iran.
Oh, no,
I just didn't know if it's something that we can even,
Yeah, I'm not aware of any limitations, but usually the number of mortgage companies that are sufficiently knowledgeable for familiar with units of government, it tends to be a pretty small pool.
Right, well, right now, we're at 3.5%. So I was gonna at least reach out to Harris and Lake Forest Bank and Trust and see what they would do for us. My only question to the board, or even Ryan's input, if we've got roughly 10 years left, are we looking for a 5-year loan, or are we looking for a 10-year fixed? Or should I let the bank make proposals to us?
Yeah, yeah. I think that the Northern Trust one was not your standard
Right.
loan. It had very, very strange, to me, I mean, just because they're a commercial lender, they're not, in fact, I don't think they will even renew it this
Right,
time.
that's right.
But they actually bundle up their mortgages and sell them to private investors. And that's why we couldn't even pay them off early, or we would have to pay a penalty because they promised these investors. But we don't want any of that kind of loan. We just want a straight, good rate. You know, unless there's a real reason to do a balloon, I would just go to a straight.
That's what I thought, but I wanted to ask. So I'm asking for approval from the board. Do we need a motion or just head nods from the other two guys?
As long as you got a consensus, because you're not approving anything, you're just gonna go out and research some information and come back and report to the board for subsequent board approval.
That's it.
Yeah, we just do want it to reflect in the minutes that Dan has been authorized to do this.
Yeah, I get it. Authorize Dan to research mortgage information.
That was the only other thing. If you want to table everything else, that's up to you, Mr. President. This is anything else you want to discuss on it?
For my consideration, everything can wait unless there's any particular item either one of you would like to.
Well, the other one's not really that big of a deal, I mean, might as well talk to them. 13, 12, 14.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine with me.
The dispatch, somewhere here. Chief, you want to walk us through this?
This is just some parameters that we came up with as far as for e-dispatch, that we hold our guys to as well. Sort of. Right, to a certain extent, but seeing as they are responding in emergency capacity, it is a little bit different. And it's just kind of what operationally I would like to see in regards to it.
As a suggestion to follow, I'm fine with it. If any one of these issues came up regarding me, I would expect the guy on the left and the guy on the right of me to discipline me. So I'm not in favor of a policy, however, I do respect and accept the guidelines, and we'll live by them.
Well, a policy is a policy. And if this, we're suggesting that this be a board policy, not a, fire department operation policy. This is a board policy, and we're going to adopt this policy.
That's what you had asked, yes.
Okay. So therefore, it is our policy.
Well, wait a minute. I certainly understand there needs to be a policy for the department. I think to try to make the same policy applicable to the board, I think a lot of it is good information. And again, I think in the future, as new board members come on that may not be as familiar with fire departments and operations and whatever, there should be a board policy for handling e-dispatch. But I don't think that the board should necessarily be disciplined by the fire chief. I think it should be a board decision. I would propose that, and I would be willing to look this over and come up with a policy that I think is more appropriate to the board, because it should be an informational policy. Certainly issues like you know, not responding to a scene with the intent that they're gonna play a role.
That's incorrect, though, Bob, I agree with you, that was not the intention of my wording. Because again, the president asked us to come up with this, and I reached out to other fire chiefs. It's not the fire chief disciplining one of you guys, it's that we don't need every person, if something happens going to it, they should be routed to the fire chief. The fire chief would then call the president, or however you guys want it to fit, and say, this policy was violated. Because obviously, if Carl violated the policy and Dan, you were at home having soda, you don't have no idea.
Right.
We don't need a fireman calling and saying this. It's the fire. All of our communication goes to the fire chief. The fire chief then would call, if you want the president to be the notification point process, say, listen, unless it is the president, it would be the next person in line, which is presumably in chain of pecking order, I believe, is the treasurer, which is to say, hey, listen, we had this violation. You know, if you want to change this violation, but I don't think there's anything on here that isn't exactly what you're saying. I mean, if
Well,
you,
I haven't really had any time to look it over thoroughly, but I would like to review this
Yeah, I
first
agree.
and possibly modify it or whatever, and then present it to the board for review.
Yeah, but I
and
agree.
possible adoption.
That's a misprint on mine. It should read more to the tune of, if there is a
Communication
inappropriate
Yeah.
violation or violating from the district's policy, the fire chief would be the contact person to the president that the
Yeah.
this was done.
So we want to table this for action until the August.
That would be my.
Well,
my-
the policy we can decide on.
Right.
And again, I'm certainly not looking for any more hullabaloo tonight. I sent you an email, I never got a response back, written or verbal. I'd like you to get us connected, and we'll pass
I
some type
thought
of
Carl
policy.
said he was gonna email you to put this, to hold off till the meeting when we can discuss this.
I don't know, I sent you an email, I never heard back from you, written or verbal.
Yes, I did say that we were going to, you know, you put
Right,
together
so
a
Carl
policy.
was, I talked to Carl, Carl was responding to you in regards
And
to it.
again, I'm not looking to start shit with you tonight, John, or anybody else that had that, but, and this kind of goes to the whole thing. I would have liked a response back from you to me. Dan, I've talked to Carl about this is what we're gonna do, I never heard anything back from you. Okay, even a phone call, hey, I got your email, listen, I have some concerns, I'm gonna talk to Carl about it, can we address it at the next meeting? That's fine, I just heard nothing from you, but I sent you the email. You just never responded back to me. So that's all, I'm just asking you to please respond back to me. I try not to bother you unless there's something I'm asking. I try to be civil as best I know how. I do live in Knollwood. So that's all I'm asking, is that just, you know, respond back and just, I'd like to know what's going on, that's all. Okay, thank you.
Can we make a motion that the board of trustees be connected to e-dispatch as soon as possible?
Yeah, I'll do it right now.
And that the next meeting, the board will be presented with a policy for board members, because I'd like it to explain a little bit more to, like, say, a lay board member who has no fire experience or whatever, exactly what the concerns
You
might
want us to
be.
just forward you this one?
Well, I mean, and to go along with your point, Bob, if you eliminate discipline, which I agree, that's something, I mean, this was just written, you guys should decide your own fate, it shouldn't be up to us. So if we waive the discipline part, if that's agreeable, and we waive, which I agree with you, this phrase and this sentence of discipline will be the responsibility of the fire chief, again, well, however you word it, the bottom line is things that we brought to the fire chief, it's 8 things. And I think that everything you just.
Okay, why don't you make those changes,
Okay,
send it to me electronically.
okay.
That will give me a chance to go through it and whatever, and be in a position to present it to the board for approval at the next meeting. In the meantime, we connect to e-dispatch.
Unless you guys are comfortable just saying whatever Bob puts out.
No, I'm not comfortable with anything.
No, I think they need to see it and.
I want to see it just.
and
No, I meant.
We'll vote on it.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
pending your guys' approval.
Right, and then when we have this stuff too.
All I'm saying is we're implementing something before policy, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page.
I'm also guilty of this. I'll try not, this literally came in today on the windows. I'll try to get you guys everything ahead of time to look over before Carl, Bob, and John. So if we're gonna look at something like this, if you could send it a couple days ahead, that would be great.
We got it.
Okay.
So, yeah, e-dispatch, so now we're clear. I need your cell phone numbers and then your provider. That's first and foremost. Second, we are not at liberty to give out Lake Bluff stuff. E-dispatch is Division 4 SRT teams, Lake Bluff, and Knoll. So the only thing I can speak of without talking to anybody else to give you guys is Knollwood's all come.
Yeah.
I just want to throw it out there so you don't think that, oh, we're not doing, you know, you just ask later, oh, I can get all this stuff. Again, I can't give you David Graff's permission. You know, David Graff would have to give you guys permission to have his tones put on there. And the Mavis chairman would have to give you guys permission to be put on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thank you.
I can't answer for those guys. We can only answer for Knoll. So I'm assuming that's all you want, but
No,
I don't want it to be, you come back later and say, how come I don't get notified for this and that? So you have that understanding?
No, let's go with that for now.
Just Knoll, okay.
Eric, did you want to follow up with the guy, I'm changing subjects, sorry, because I've got it. Did you want to follow up yet with the guy in the parking lot, or is everybody?
Well, I mean, just me personally, I'm not a zip code guy. I just think that the job they did, I think, was poor. And I think it's better than the first time. If you go walk out there right now, there's puddles of tar. The problem is it's hot, 90 degrees outside. You step in, now you walk down the building. That's not the board's responsibility. That's going to be the guy's responsibility to clean up the mess. So, you know, I would just ask maybe in the future, we may not use this vendor. And then maybe Dan, since your guy, maybe have a conversation and again, come out there. I mean, he was good with John, and I'm not saying we shouldn't pay this guy, but I mean, if he was coming to your house, I think there would be a conversation of, hey, listen, maybe the materials and a discounted labor rate, because I feel that they rushed the first time and then they were upset and rushed the second time because they didn't want to lose more money of doing it over again. And, you know,
All right,
that's a suggestion. That's just me. It's up to you guys.
I'll
But
follow up with him. And
Just so you know, it's hard right over the weeds that were
He told me
coming out
that.
of the
I
crack.
called him on it, and I said, hey, and he goes, my guys did. He goes, and I talked to the chief. He goes, we went out, we burned them off, we fixed it. And I said, okay. I said,
They never burned them off.
okay.
When they came back, they just resealed the parking lot again. They never did anything with the crack filler again. They just
Okay.
resealed the parking lot
Okay.
when they came back out.
I mean, that's all you guys look at. I mean, what you think it's worth that? No, I don't know. I just for my
You can see, I can
personally.
even show you there is where it's starting to decay out, the weeds are starting to decay already through the tar.
Okay, good. I want to see that, because I'll
Yeah.
call him back out again, John.
Yeah.
You know, again, I appreciate your heads up on this, both of you.
So give me a cell for you, Dan.
847-648-1878.
7, 8.
And
Bob?
and it's
847.
AT&T.
Oh, sorry, AT&T. Bob?
847-309-9460. It's Verizon.
Carl?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry.
847
Mhm.
494
494.
8838 AT&T.
We have to download the app, correct?
Yeah, and I can walk you guys after the meeting if you guys want to jump in my office. I'll show you that. There's also certain things that, you know, I mean, understand this.
Not a problem.
That thing is going to go off every single time I have a call. So if you're in a meeting, it's going to go off. So I just want to show you guys how to use that stuff. And I will tell you that it's not, you know, it's like a pager. You know, you're in the middle of a church, you don't want it to go off. So there's a way to turn it on and off, and I just want to show you that so you can do that.
Okay. Anything else?
So, board is not taking any action on this right now. But you're going to pass around,
Yeah.
take a look at it, and then we can,
Yeah, as soon as I get it, the changes, I'll take some time to look at it, and then I'll pass on to you guys, and then we can have it on the agenda for next meeting.
okay, excellent, thank you. Anything else we want to?
Brian, could you send me, when we were in Springfield, we talked about, you were going to send me the link to the 2 online courses you
Oh.
wanted us to take,
The
FOIA and the...
FOIL committee,
and-
yeah, I can do that.
And,
Yep. Yep.
just shoot it out, and then I'll do them as necessary.
Yep. Bob, you wanted those too, right?
Yes.
Yes. It's not a bad thing
On members of the fire department?
We did have one resignation, Brian Stodola, who did turn the weather
kind of handled 11. I'll go over a couple things where we seem to be on the,
I think that was just
on the general
just
right
process
process, what
stuff,
we're
that's
doing,
all.
process. And we'll go over the bills when we go through
Yeah,
it.
Carl said every Wednesday, if you wanna get the mail, open the mail and sort it, that might be easier for you to do if that's your pleasure, because Carl it was your Wednesday, that's what he did. So if you wanna carry out that seemed to work fine, then if you put on my desk the things you have questions on, just put on my desk and I'll.
Well, I think one of the, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, yeah, well, because as I was turning this over to Dan, I said, just in the last few months, this is getting kind of problematic, is that, back in the day, I was, I would actually take the mail out of the box
Right.
and all kinds of things, sort it out, but, thought it would be better if you guys did that, give us the, the bills, that's the way we've been doing it. Well, in the last, 3 or 4 months, we've lost a lot of bills. We didn't pay the TDS bill, we didn't pay the
Home Depot
the
bill.
Home Depot bill, and, so I'm getting Dunning letters, I'm getting, so we missed a
The
lot
NAPA
of
bill.
bills.
And then this Air One bill goes back to 9/11/15.
Yeah. So it's just got, it was, the group thing, I just mentioned, we had gotten a group.
Yeah, you
bill
got
from-
that figured out.
But I got figured, that was a group billing mistake, that was nothing to do. When we paid them for the dumpster, they thought we were paying them for future.
service.
Yeah.
Are there specific guys that grab the bills? You
Well, so
guys-
the problem is that I think there's oftentimes too, that if the mailman comes in, he just hands a stack of mail to the guys, if they're in here, and then drives out as opposed to put it in the box, so that we lost that control measure. But
Right, well,
I think that no matter who opens up what, if you're gonna come down here and check the mail, if something needs a PO, it's a bill, that we need to correlate, John put the boxes, as we talked about the other bins, and it
I'll
says
show
need
you
a
that.
PO or chief's approval.
Right.
I would just say put it in there, because at least that way when we come in from a call or whatever, we can look at the mailbox and say, oh, hey, there's 4 or 5 bills in here, and pull them out and see what they're for.
Okay. All right, and you guys handle it on your end is to, people get in the mail, just remind them to stack
we
it
just
on
don't
one of
want-
your desks or
Right.
whatever you want to
Yeah.
do. Okay.
That's what-
Yeah, that gets, and that was, it's just, we should probably have some consistency in just, in how the mail was.
Sure.
sorted out, so.
That it, call it?
Yep, so can we?
I actually have a question. Why do trustees need e-dispatch? And why do we have members that are probationary that are not on e-dispatch? And why would trustees be given e-dispatch if they talk about a policy and then they say, well, we'll talk about it later? Why would you be put on e-dispatch then? There's no policy.
We don't use a policy. Policy's voluntary.
No.
And it's to a board member's advantage that when they're approached by someone, that we can at least look like we're aware of it, rather than totally unaware. But certainly, as we well know and would be part of the policy, it is not the role of the board to respond. It's not the role of the board to play a role at a fire scene. It's not the role of the board to disseminate any information that comes across. But it is important that at least we're aware of what's going on.
I just bring up because I think we have to pay extra for more guys to be on e-dispatch. So if we have members on our department that don't have e-dispatch, wouldn't we rather give it to the firemen that are actually participating in the job than our
I think that
e-dispatch?
would be a decision made by the fire chief.
Okay, right. I think can't you put them on a pager, probationary guys?
Depending on where they live.
Okay, and the other thing that, from what I understand, if it got to that point, I had talked to e-dispatch at one time, I think it's, don't hold me to this number, but roughly $15 to add 3 people on, which would be the trustees over and above the members.
Yeah, it's under 100. If we had to add more, we're not there, but
Oh,
to answer
sorry.
your question,
Right.
it's over 100. If it's under 100, that's,
No,
no, I talked to them the other day, trust me, because there's a billing number, because Lake Bluff hasn't paid their 874 component of this, so
Okay.
you've been talking to Eric Troy, who was the battalion chief, who was the founder of this company. If it's under 100, they do it that way. If you're over 100, which we are, because we share with Lake Bluff, Bob, you might not know this, how it is since you're new, we share it with Lake Bluff. So each one of us, in theory, has 50 members authorized to use e-dispatch. We are almost maxed out on our side of the table. Now, that's just a simple conversation with David Graff. I'm not gonna tell David Graff, I don't think John, again, we don't need to, say, we're gonna have 3 trustees, that's what puts us over. Again, that might be something reflected in the policy in the future that, you know, how does that come into play? It's a valid question. For a license for 50, when we have 50 members, where does the board, I mean, the board can do that, they can certainly pay the difference, and I can ask and see what it is over 100. But that's the parameters of cutoff. Second, to tab onto Lieutenant Gernand's question, we do not give the probationary members e-dispatch because they're not checked off to respond on calls. So we don't want them to be encouraged or have the potential issue where they say, oh, there's the big house fire, and they get in the car and drive down here and get in an accident. Because as myself and others have learned before us, it's truly a responsibility that need to be understood of what the full responsibility is. Not like me that made the big mistake when I was a junior member. So in learning from our mistakes, that's what we're doing forward. That also said with that e-dispatch side, I will tell you that there is a side of the fire department that we might be ending that on our end. You guys can certainly keep it. We are looking towards a county-based system, which gives us more information. There's good sides to e-dispatch and bad. To answer your question about the pager, pagers are $700. So the reason why I went to e-dispatch in the first place was we have 50 members. If we gave everybody a pager, it's 50 times 70 by $700. It's a lot of money. So like myself, the 11 district members that live in town have pagers because we can be within station in 5 minutes. It did make sense, some of the guys that live farther away, to give them a $700 pager when it's probably going to sit in their vehicle or sit in a car, and we'll be lucky if it even goes off. So that's where that comes into play. But we have the room, we'll put it on there. I'm sure Bob will come up with a policy that will satisfy all of our concerns. I think you verbalized exactly what our concerns would be anyway. There's no reason past that to go forward, so we'll take care of it. And if it comes to that, then we will make adjustments.
That's the motion to adjourn. I'll make that motion.
Second.